Hello, 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 and welcome, everybody, to the Pixelogic ZBrush live stream. My name is Ben, and I am just setting up my chat to make sure that it is working really quick, and I think so. Awesome. Well, we're going to be having a pretty chill stream tonight, hence got the tea all ready to go. We are going to be working on something fun tonight, a little stylized Eggman, or Robotnik, you might know him by. This is a concept by Melmade Dukes, at Melmade Dukes on Instagram. Normally he paints a lot of pretty girls, but he, like a month ago or so, posted a bunch of cool stylized Nintendo characters, and I thought that one was pretty cool, and with the release of Sonic coming out here soon, I thought it would be appropriate. If you guys want to check out more of my stuff, like I said, my name is Ben, but I go by Follygon around here on the Pixelogic channel and on the internets. So you can check out my Gumroad for all my courses, brushes, materials, base meshes, etc., etc. That is gumroad.com/Follygon. Or you could check out my Appeal Academy course, which is just appeal.academy. It's a course and a mentorship for creating stylized characters, much like these three characters. And it is something that you can do at your own pace. So it's not limited to like a very strict schedule or anything like that. If you guys want to check out more of my work, you can always check out my ArtStation or my YouTube channel where I upload pretty frequently. Just Google Follygon and you'll find all my stuff. Cool. Well, with that all out of the way, hello Caleb, Levy, welcome, as well as everybody else that is joining us. We're not going to waste any time, and we are going to go ahead and get started on Egg Boy here. So, oftentimes when I start sculpting, I like to... Oh, and by the way, if you're new here, make sure to say hi in chat, and wherever you're watching from, maybe give a little shout out so we know where you are. Unless you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, of course, then I don't want to know. I don't want to know if you're here. Also, it's freezing here, so there is that too. So, as I was saying, I normally start my characters in my Follygon clay black and white material when I start sculpting. But I was thinking it'd be fun to get a little head start on color and polypaint and all that good stuff, and just kind of start this way. This is something I don't do super often because I like to start sculpting without any color, just to kind of help get myself in the mindset of working on large shapes and silhouette, and then I'll start adding in polypaint and color a little bit later. I thought it'd be fun to try it out this way tonight, so I don't think there's going to be any harm in it. So we'll just go ahead and go crazy here. I'm just going to block out the major shapes and try to do that as quickly as I can. For some reason, that color did not sample correctly. I think it worked that time. That was a little strange. So, what am I doing? I'm just using my move brush, and I used a couple slice tools there to separate that little bottom half. Nothing too fancy. This is going to be a pretty chill stream tonight, so I probably won't explain every single step of the process. But if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to shout them out in chat, and I'll do my best to answer as much as I can. James Swan, what's going on, man? What is good? ZBrush, I guess. ZBrush 2020, we got the new update. For those who haven't grabbed the update, it is a free update. Also, this chai holly tea is also very good. Let's see. Hopefully some new material. Well, I've had courses up online for at least a couple years now. My Appeal Academy course is my big one. That has been out since earlier this year, around, I want to say, March. But like I said, if you're interested in checking it out, go on over to my Gumroad and you can get all the infos there. I don't want to make my stream turn into a little advertisement here, so we'll avoid that. Where's my... It is that. I did have the right brush. I was just confused for some reason there. I am looking for the Asline. There we go. So I'm going to use this to make some shtick legs. He's got some very tiny legs here. The one thing I don't like about doing poly paint so early is that when you have something that is very dark or black like this, it's very hard to see. So that can be pretty frustrating to work with. But I think we'll make it work here. So get the block out, like I said, as quick as we can. Ooh, we should turn that as line function back off, because I'm going to now create those arms. And those arms are not straight. Whoop. So you see how my curve brush is snapping to the surface there? It's a very nice feature, but I actually don't want that to happen right now. So where is it? Picker. We'll turn on, I believe it's, oh wait, maybe it's not picker. Hold on, let me, thought it was picker. Yes, it is. So picker depth, and we want to toggle on once Z there. So this is grabbing the depth in the Z direction there. And there we go. Just like that, easy peasy. No longer getting that weird snap. And I will turn that back on because I will want that probably later. And I'll be annoyed by why it's not working and not understand what's going on. I do that all the time. That's why I try to keep all my stuff at the default settings. When I change it, I try to change it back very quickly. Stubby little arms, very nice. Let's get this head on there. Night Shadow, how are you doing? Welcome. Don, what's going on over in Connecticut? Hope it's nicer weather over there, but I'm gonna guess not. Will I be showing off some of the new features of 2020? I absolutely can. If you guys have any specifics that you'd like to see, there might be a couple areas that we can do something with on this guy. You wish that the Jim Carrey Sonic, or Doctor Eggman, was fatter. It's a pretty strange request, but you know, I can respect that. Gotta have the bowling ball of a body for Dr. Eggman. I didn't actually mean to insert a cube there, but I am too lazy to change it, so we'll just subdivide it a couple times, and voila, we pretty much have the sphere that I wanted. Now, his head actually does look kind of square, so maybe this is like a little blessing in disguise. I'm trying to get a little bit more of that color. There we go, that's more of what I wanted. It's got a little bit taper there. And really what we're looking for at this stage is just the basic little shape to plop on up there and continue creating some of the rest of this. So we got the mustachio next up. And for this, I'm going to be using, you know what, let's just insert a sphere because I don't want to mess with the curve brush yet again. We'll just plop down a sphere really quick. Why is that freaking out? Because we got some subdivs on there. Beautiful. Beautiful little mustache. So this mustache actually has some really cool shapes going on. I'm going to use the Acu curve to start helping to block out that silhouette a little bit better. I'm going to keep that pretty flat for now, but we can mess with that more once we get some of the rest of the stuff in here. So, like I said, I don't normally do this kind of thing with color on from the very beginning, but I thought it would be fun to try something new. Hello from Argentina, welcome. What time is it in Argentina right now? How do you get the brush that I used to draw his arms? It's the Curved Tube Snap Brush, and I turned on once Z over in the Picker Depth menu. That is the way to do it. It is a default brush in ZBrush, so nothing too fancy there. Let's use a cylinder for his feet, his legs. I want to show you guys something really cool, so I'm going to insert this at an angle here. With the transpose line, a cool little feature is that you can actually reorient objects back to a neutral state using the transpose line because it snaps to normals. So all you do is snap it to a face like that and hold the shift key and rotate it. So it's perfectly aligned on the x-axis now. So now I just snap it again and rotate it while holding the shift key. And look at that, it's perfectly oriented with that axis. But I actually want it to go this way, so we'll just rotate it one more time, and just like that, pretty easy to fix. So a lot of cool stuff that you can do with the transpose line to quickly reorient and fix things. Now I know a lot of you don't like the transpose line, but it's my baby. I'm all about it. So anytime I can show off some of the cool features for it, I'm all about it. All right, we will align these a little bit. So looking at where that kind of meets the shape. I know it's brown right now, but we'll fix that. Pull that down there. And let's see, so just a little lower maybe, right about there. And we'll just slide these out for now. They could probably be a bit longer, but for now, it's not a huge deal. Essentially, what I try to do in the early stages when I'm blocking a character out is to more so not worry about proportions, but just worry about getting all the stuff in there as quick as I possibly can. And then once I get it all in there, then I'll start worrying about proportions a little more. And you know what? Instead of recreating something for the little cuffs, I'll just reuse the cylinder from before and scroll back on my undos. Well, boom. Gotta be creative with that stuff. We don't have to keep these perfectly on the central axis there. We can rotate these a bit. Don't want them to feel so incredibly boring. Get out of here. I will keep these straight up and down, at least initially, so that I can use the Z modeler brush on them, so that I can be a little bit more specific. So there's a lot of different functionality with the Z modeler brush. I have some tutorials over on my YouTube channel on how to use this thing, but for the most part, I'm just gonna kind of do this pretty quick. How's everybody been enjoying the new version of ZBrush? All the new features like the history recall, extractor brush. I have been really liking the, what do I have it set to? Control T right now. The little thumbnail view is really nice. I've been enjoying that. I used this a ton when I was working on my little beta dragon, the piece that I worked on for the beta. Sounds like I'm talking about like a beta fish, but like a beta dragon. So I use that thumbnail a lot. So there's like a lot of little cool new features that I'm enjoying. What about you guys? What's some of your favorite features so far? Start to bevel that. I also need to do a quick little splitteroonie and Q-mesh. Get rid of that hole really quick. Once you learn the Z modeler brush, it's so easy and fun to play with. You can do so many cool things much faster than you could in other programs, in my opinion. My favorite part of just having the Z modeler brush is that it's just here natively in ZBrush. I don't have to hop out of anything else to do any poly modeling, which is not how it was when I started using ZBrush. Transpose line confuses me so much, but I see a lot of artists use it. I mean, it's like anything else, right? When you probably saw a 3D gizmo for the very first time, like, you didn't know what it was, right? Transpose line it's not confusing, like, once you learn it. You take one day to, like, figure it out, and you're pretty much good to go from there. Do you think it's best to use the curve brush to create things like cat tails and whiskers? For like whiskers and stuff like that, yeah, I think it's a great little tool. For tails, cattails. Do you mean like a cattail, like a cat's tail, or like the plant, a cattail? I mean, yeah, you could use it for either, I guess. I would probably just pull out some geometry really quick to like block out the shape. If it was like hyper specific, definitely that way. If it was something, I don't know, it just kind of depends. I think you could do it. I don't think it would be difficult or anything like that. So I don't really see any issues. There's so many ways to do everything in ZBrush though, so it's not like there's one best way necessarily. Sometimes there is, but not all the time, for sure. Alright, I'm just going to use some spheres to represent his hands right now. And he's coming along pretty quick. This little jacket here needs to come up in the middle. What do we think? Do I like that S-curve that is creating? I kind of do actually like that S-curve. So I think that is something I'll keep. Cool little trick here. Because of the way the mirror and weld function works, I'll show you something pretty neat here. I'm gonna slice this in half, about like that, and get rid of this just by deleting it, and then run a mirror and weld function. Oh, I have local on, and then run a mirror and weld function. And there we go, I cut out that like little segment pretty quick there. Pretty quick and easily, I should say. All right, I think we will detail the stuff on the shirt a little bit more later, or whatever this is, jacket? I'm not really sure. One thing I would like to do though is give his body a bit more shape. I think it's really boring from the profile, so I think just giving this some like squash and tilting it a little bit like this could help quite a bit. And I think it makes that stance feel a lot stronger as well. And then it would be awesome if I could taper this to just a little bit. Just a wee bit, something like that. And then, with the jacket, we can turn on transparent, and kind of realign that very quickly with our move brush. Just a really large move brush. And that's getting like pretty warped when I do this kind of thing, so we'll have to clean that up later for sure. Actually, with the history recall brush, we could project this onto that form. But I don't really think that's necessary with something so simple. Let me do a quick little remesh on that. Hopefully not completely explode it, and check out chat. Yes, the transpose line can mask out topology as well. Topological masking by holding control. It's got a lot of really cool stuff that it can do. I have a video that explains literally everything it can do, including using it as a measuring stick up here with your units. So many things, so many things. Still haven't updated, come on, hop on it, man. What are you waiting for? BB Boy Boy, awesome username, welcome. The painting on UVs, so the morph UV function. Yeah, that's actually super cool. I like that a lot as well. The artist is Melmade Dukes, or Melmade Duke over on Instagram. You can find them with a quick little search in the Googs. Extrude all polygons. Make sure that we, whoa, fix our normals. Fix our color, And I don't like how dark that is, so I'm just going to crank that up on my side of the river here. And if you'll notice how dirty this geometry is, it's like got this annoying little twist in it. I could sit here and delete some of this. It's at 820. I think with a Zeri mesh really low, we should get rid of a lot of that. And unfortunately, it's being annoying on those end caps. So with a quick little delete of those end caps, we should get a little bit of a better result there. So we got these extra loops going this way, but these are much easier to delete because I only have about 8 or so that I need to delete. Uh-oh, what happened? For some reason, deleting that edge loop. Oh, now it's working. Huh, that was weird. Oh, it's doing it there too. Oh, oh, that's very strange. It actually put end caps on it when I remeshed it. Did I not delete those? I thought I did. Well, either way, now it's much more clean. And, you know, I could come through here and delete a few of these. This is literally just a tube of geometry. So we don't need a lot of polygons here, and honestly, the less we have, the more easy it is to manipulate something like this. So one thing that we can do is create a quick mask and blur that mask and inflate this one direction and de-inflate it going the other way. And just like that, got some pretty simple geometry representing our tube arms. Beautiful. And honestly, it could just be thicker in general. Whoa, we got some stuff poking through up here. Kind of want to work on that shape a bit more too. But before we work on the body anymore, or any of the rest of this stuff, let's go play with the face and try to get some more of the stuff up there. So he's got these huge eyes, or I guess these are his like goggles or glasses. I didn't think he had blue eyes, so I was blue eyes white dragon. So I was like looking up some other images of him, and he does have some like goggles. So I'm guessing that's what those are supposed to be. So that is what we will have to do next. Let's see here. We don't really have a lot of information to go off of. It looks like his head is pretty flat on top. So we're gonna use what little we have. Let's see. And try to block this in ever so quickly. So we'll just get like a little simple nose bridge here, and we'll change that a little bit here too in a sec, because that needs to go the other way. So I am going to just start giving this some additional shape from the profile. And I am not actually going to sculpt eyes for him. I'm just going to give him the goggles, make him flush up against his face. We're very limited on time here, so, you know, Doctor Eggman doesn't get any eyes tonight. Let's also put a schnoz on this boy. All about the schnoz. I always recommend for people that are new to sculpting that they start off with a nose or a finger, because I think they're really easy, but you know, there's a lot that you can do to take them to a really polished and finished state. Whether that be realism or you know, some kind of stylized or caricature of anatomy. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with the nose. Simplify that up real quick. And just press a couple buttons and voila, we got a nose. I am going to put an extra edge loop there so that we can get a tighter transition. So I have 2 polygroups, I guess technically 3 now, but I'm going to use those to my advantage to try to shape this up a little bit more. Let's see. It honestly kind of looks like a carrot nose, like Frosty, the snowman. All right, let's stick with that for now and continue on with some of the rest of this really quick. Love to watch Pixelogic streams. Awesome, so do I. Adore how you guys do some crazy stuff with all the ZBrush features that I don't even know about. Yes, there is a lot in ZBrush, so there's always something like new to learn, I think. And just seeing everybody else's workflow is always really fun as well. He's looking so doofy. I need to search for ZModeler tutorials at your channel, I guess. Yeah, the ZModeler brush is awesome. I highly encourage people to play with it and learn it. For the eyes or goggles, they kind of are spheres, it looks like, based on the reflection that we're getting. So, might as well just plop a quick sphere in here, or two. And these are drastically different in shape, so that is something we'll have fun playing around with, I think. And honestly, I'm just having fun playing around with color on this so quickly here in the beginning. I am going to turn off the mustache so I can see some of the shape down here. Oh, and you know what? I totally forgot to show you guys here at the beginning what I'm working on right now. So I showed you guys last week a little update on the character I was working on. But let's see, I do have it imported. Awesome, yes. I've been working on a basketball player version of Zelda. I'm gonna make her spinning a basketball on her finger, and it's gonna be awesome. I just started posing her today, and there is a lot more that I want to do with her. Like, I've just started getting into posing her, and there's a bunch that I'm gonna have to re-sculpt as I start to like tweak and get it into the general area. But yeah, I really liked the new hairstyle for Zelda, so when I started making this, I was wanting to make Zelda in more of a modern style. But the more I kind of played with it, I was like, you know what, we'll just kind of like go this direction. It was kind of accidental as I was playing with a bunch of different outfits. I ended up falling more into the like sports player type outfit, and I was like, heck, let's do some b-ball. Let's go. I don't even like basketball, so it just ended up going that way, kind of. But yes, that is her. That is my current project, and I'm making a process video on this entire character that will be up on my YouTube channel here soon. Hopefully. We will see. And then there's this guy. Wow, look how beautiful comparison, right? Okay, let me turn that mustache back off. And do a quick little mask here for our mouth. Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Doctor Eggman. But everything starts out looking ugly. So did Zelda. She started out very ugly. Ooh. Wow, the stuff of nightmares. But this is how it goes. So let's make sure that the shape is correct enough from the front view. So it doesn't look like he has a neck. It just looks like, it just kind of like blends in there. I'll probably raise up the body to meet that just because it's so much easier. I'll have to think about that. Do you have a separate channel? ZModeler is the tool to use. So a lot of people here stream on the Pixelogic channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Ben. I go by Follygon in the digital sculpting communities. And you can find me with a quick Google to find my YouTube channel. Follygon, that is how you spell it. Or find things like my Gumroad, or courses, or brushes, materials, etc., etc. But no, I am not Pixelogic. Also, adding the channel doesn't make me more likely to see your message, because I have a special chat that's viewing a multi-stream with 3 other channels on it right now. Are you going to consider doing fiber mesh on Robotnik's mustache? No, I don't think fiber mesh would be extremely useful for something like that. Alright, we need a lot more shape in this. Boo, boo, boo. And we need to fix. You know what? We'll just do this. I just didn't like how stretched it was getting along the mouth there, and wanted to clean that up. I just need to push this back quite a bit. His face is pretty flat based on what I can see. Whoa, come back. Need that color. Whoops. Perfect. Another really cool thing that we can do. Oh wow, that's fun. Is use polygroups to create some clean edge loops around a couple of these different areas, which I can do here in a moment. But let me see. I want to make sure that I get, let's see, kind of that basic shape turn here of the brow. And like I said, I'm not giving him eyes. I honestly just kind of carved in there for the eye socket so that I could know exactly where that was for what I'm doing here. And then we'll start to clean this up. More so just kind of get the stuff in there first. Alright, and then like I said, polygroups, I'll show you here in a sec, which we will use to create some cleaner topology very quickly. So Control W to polygroup visible or polygroup masked. This doesn't need to be super specific, I don't think. Just like very general there. Something like that. That'll do just fine. And then turn on Keep Groups under the Z-Remesher menu. It's in there under Tool, Geometry, Z-Remesh. I have it down here in my little custom menu though. When do you want to Dynamesh and when do you want to Z-Remesh? There are a lot of different situations for each. I actually have a video over on my channel that talks about that exact topic that I will link for you. Because it addresses all that, because that is a question I get asked often. Z-Remesher or Dynamesh? Wow, fancy. Let's give that a click. And that had a timestamp. Sorry, let me get rid of the timestamp. Well, bam! There you go, dude. Go crazy. Hopefully you find it helpful. I know a lot of people have. Instead of asking what tablet you're using, I'm going to rebel and ask you what kind of shampoo do you use. I honestly don't. I want to say it's Dove. I think it's Dove. Excellent question. Honestly, the best question I've ever received. All right, let's go here. So we've cleaned that up ever so slightly. It is still very messy, but that is okay. with the goggles here, couple different ideas I have of how we can just speed this up very quickly. I'm gonna kind of cheat a couple things here. If you want to know more specifically what I'm doing, just let me know. I'm just kind of trying to do this quick. Local sin scale should be good enough. There we go, that works. Essentially what I want to do is kind of break symmetry on these right away. Kind of give them that crazy doctor feel. Wow. Yeah, something like that. I've noticed that while streaming, I do this wah noise a lot, and I've coined it my my Waluigi sound, and I've started bringing it more and more into my real life, and I don't know how that makes me feel. Cool, so we got some quick little Googles. We're just going to do that for now. For the mouth, or teeth better yet, a little trick that we can take this geometry and reuse it. Just a little bit of it though, we don't need all of it. I essentially just want some so that I can create a quick extraction with the Z modeler brush. Extrusion, sorry, not extraction. Extrude all polygons. And that is a little bit too off-white. There's like a little bit of a tint over this image, and it's causing some of my color selections to freak out a little bit, I think. Wow, so fancy. So fancy with all these tools. I'm really not using all that many tools. I never really do. It's pretty much all that move brush. It's the piece de resistance. My favorite brush is the move brush. You know what? We'll just cut this. Mirror and weld. Local sim. Keep forgetting that's on. Keeps screwing me up. Do you expect the new Sonic's movie? Do you expect the new Sonic's movie or not interested? I am not interested. I could not care less about the new Sonic movie. I think it looks very like kind of campy and doofy, which I'm sure is the case. I mean, it's got Jim Carrey in it, and it's a Sonic movie. So I probably will not go see this in theaters, but you know, if it comes to Netflix or something like that, I'll probably give it a look. Can't hurt, right? Watch every video and every stream. Oh man, don't do that. That's too long. I got like hundreds of videos on YouTube or something. Like that's too much. Not even I would want to do that, and I made it. But you're welcome to hang out. I'm gonna take this sweatshirt off because I'm melting right now. He's a Jedi? Who's a Jedi? Sonic? Sonic's a Jedi? Gotta go to sleep, got school tomorrow. No worries. You have a good night. Get that sleep. Wells Draws, welcome, man. Or lady, or friend. How you doing? When I split the teeth up and down, are they separated automatically into two different groups? Because I cut it in half, the slice that I did to them is what split them into separate meshes and also separate polygroups. So yes, they are automatically separated. This needs to be much more thin up top here. Whoops. That nose is so flush with the mouth that I actually can't tell if the mustache connects. So we'll just do that for now. Whoops. Sure, that works. And then let's reshape this by more than a little bit, just to get it a bit more accurate to what we're seeing. So let's try to get the main shape down first. Actually, that's a lot more rounded than I thought it was, so that's actually quite nice. It looks like it is flowing back in the wind majestically a little bit, as I can only imagine. Dr. Eggman is a very majestic creature, so get some of that in there. Awesome. Scale-wise, it looks like the mustache actually needs to be quite a bit larger. You can see how much higher that is above his head than what we have, so that needs to change by quite a lot. So that is something that we will play with more. We want to make sure that the shape isn't losing its volume or silhouette really from these other angles. I want to make sure that the shape is still appealing from as many different angles as possible. We are 3D artists, right guys? So gotta make it look good, unfortunately, from every angle. I know, it sucks. Those dang 2D artists, they got it easy, right? What is, or where is the button you clicked to attach the hand curves so it would sticky to the body? The hand curves. Are you talking about, why didn't that remesh? Are you talking about the thing that I did with the arm to make the curve not stick to the body, I think? Let me show you. I think what you're talking about, and I might be wrong, is picker depth and turning on continuous Z or once Z. Continuous Z, that means that as you make that curve, it'll always stick to the surface if it's the curved tube snap brush. And once Z means that it's only snapping to that first time you press your pen down or mouse down. I think that's what you're talking about. Will I attend CTN Expo this weekend? I have no idea what that is, so most likely no, I will not. What is the CTN Expo? Cool Time News Expo. Nope, that's probably not it. I have no idea. Cartoon Network? I don't know. That's all I got. That was it. Awesome. Perfect. Happy to help, man. Let's see here. So we could sit here and tweak with the mustache and get that shape absolutely perfect, but let's continue on to a couple other areas, like his goggles and the strap going around his head. So I'm going to keep him relatively blocky. So using a couple of those secret transpose line functions that I mentioned earlier, we'll just kind of clip off parts that we don't need or want. Creative Talent Network. Oh, I was so close with my guesses, but no, I will not be going to this Creative Talent Network conference. I've never heard of it. Yes, beautiful, right? Almost as good as my other character that I was showing off earlier. My Zelda, Princess Zelda. Alright, so I'm going to use the shape of his head to create a strap by cutting out the shape with a slice curve brush. Like this. Take my geometry, I already have the slice curve brush here active, and I'm just going to draw a little line across his head, like so. And I'll do that twice. And I'll get a little bit of taper in this. Might as well. It's kind of like an off black. Got his little strap going all the way around. Honestly, that's not exactly where we would have that. Let's try this instead. Something a little bit more close to what we might expect. And then for the actual... So he's like wearing glasses or goggles. I'm just now realizing this. Does the real Eggman have like 2 pairs of goggles, or what is this? Yeah, he does. He's like wearing glasses, I guess. I thought they were goggles. They're glasses. And then he's got goggles on his dome. Wow, Dr. Eggman's design is beyond words. It's inspiring. Only if I could design a character this good. I would also have a multi-billion question mark? No, there's no way. $1 million franchise. How much is the IP of Sonic the Hedgehog worth? Like, it's gotta be multi-billion, right? It's gotta be. Because they use him in all sorts of stuff. Those are some pretty cool and interesting shapes up there in terms of like how they like tilt and stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is just very quickly polymodel these up. And maybe I'll probably just do it this way. I think this is probably the easiest way. And then I can like manually tilt and shift them. His name is Dr. Eggman and his head is a square. Yes, very much so. Mr. Fat Man? Oh my gosh. Was that actually his, like, original name? That's so sad. Did they come up with that? Or was that, like, a mean thing that Sonic and the crew would say about our beloved Dr. Eggboy? Sure. Nice and quick. Alright, so we're pretty much finished with blocking out all the parts and pieces. You know, there's some like little extra doohickeys on his jacket, and his feet are extended down here, but for the most part, we've pretty much blocked out the major shapes. So now we can start working on actually cleaning stuff up and figuring out proportions and all that good jazz. So I think I really want to work on the connective area between the head and the egg, I guess, for lack of better terms. Let's head on over into Transpose Master. We'll use this to create some quick changes here. So Transpose Master, if you don't know, is an awesome little tool for manipulating all of your subtools at the same time, or I mean as many as you want, technically. So it takes all the visible subtools and then puts them into a temporary new tool, which is what I'm working on right now. And geez, come on. Once you are done working on your little T-pose mesh, you send it back and it makes all those changes to all the separated subtools. It's a very nice way to make quick corrections or pose a character is what I'm using for, where'd she go? This gal here. So that's how I'm going to be posing her. Nice little material swap on the hands there. We can maybe make her hang out up here in the corner for a minute. But yeah, Transpose Master is awesome. Awesome tool for a lot of different reasons. Let's make that head larger, and I want to get more taper on the head in general. So let's see, how can we do that? I want to make the head a little bit more of a trapezoid. Kind of like a pyramid. That design is so crazy. Yeah, it's a cool design, for sure. Hate when that happens. You select something and is just hiding parts of the object. Yes. It can be frustrating. Sonic franchise grossed over $5 billion by 2014, according to Wikipedia. So yes, it is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. It's quite a chunk of change for good old Doctor Eggman here. I think I originally, ironically, liked Sonic because he was such a meme, but now I kind of like Sonic because he's such a meme. Let's see. While we are here, these hands need to be much larger. A little tip for you guys. Have you ever tried to scale things up that are symmetrical like this, and they start zooming out like that really far? A little tip, click this local symmetry button over here, and when you scale, they'll stay in the same spot. I turn that on and off all the time while I'm working. Do you have experience in 3D printing? I do. I have a lot of experience in 3D printing. My professional background is working on toys, and because of that, as well as life-size figures for like amusement parks and special events and museums. So because of that, a lot of prototyping has to be done. So yes, I do have a lot of experience in 3D printing. Worried about perspective. What focal length to use to get less distortion when the model is printed, or don't use it? I work with perspective on and off while I'm sculpting. You can see that it is off right now, but I will toggle it on from time to time. It should look good in perspective and without perspective, if you want my honest opinion. I don't think you should just use one or the other. You should definitely be swapping back and forth. I don't think you'll have any problems with focal length for printing. I assume every artist knows about all the animation expos that happen in LA. No worries, I don't even live in LA, so not a problem. But I was there last weekend. I went to the California State University Fullerton to speak to some of their students there, and that was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of cool people, talk about my process a little bit for sculpting, and check out their beautiful university. It's an awesome campus. They have this beautiful arboretum there with a ton of really just beautiful like biomes of different trees. Very, very cool campus, and great group of people all together. I had a lot of fun on my trip. This ox, that could go one of many ways. Rocks, okay, good correction, Mike. You saved it there. Nice. Way to clutch it in the end. There's another way that could have gone. I was a little scared. Nice blonde girl. Thank you, George. Appreciate it. Good old Zelda up top. Is there anything else I want to do to this in Transpose Manager before we head out? I don't think so. I think I'm going to just like scoot our armies and sleeveys up a little. Let's put the hands a little higher. Actually, like right there. Should be fine. Just kind of eyeballing it. It doesn't need to be perfect. Not for not for something where we only have like a couple hours to sculpt a character. Definitely not. Let's hop on out of Transpose Master and swap our material in a second. Cool. And let's see. Eating with one hand and typing with the other. Wow, that is the life. The life of a champion. That's pretty much what I always do. I work at my desk. I often eat at my desk too. All right, let's extrude. No, I don't want to extrude the geometry for the feet. I think that would be a mistake. Instead, I'll just attach a little cube and we'll kind of align that. And then I think we'll just combine the geometry together. I think that'll be much easier. So we'll grab a cube, plop that down. And because it's kind of hard to... What's going on here? Okay, polyframe was on, and it was a very strange polyframe color. So because black is hard to see when you're modeling, I'm not going to fill in the color on either of these. Whoops, toggle off the poly paint so that I can see a little better. And yeah, let me fix this cube really quick. So I could have just appended a cube, but I wanted a perfect cube like this. And there are other ways you can get a perfect cube, but it doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, there's always a billion different ways to do just about everything. All right, so what I am trying to do is just give a little bit of a connective point there. These are probably, let's look at that from the profile, a little too long, right? So let's scoot those back in. That feels pretty good to me. And give that a quick alignment. And all I want to do is make sure that that is merging into that. So that you can't see like really any of the seam of the connection there. And from here, with some quick little Z modeling, with insert poly loops and the such, we can get this to a really nice place. Mainly what I want to do is use one of my favorite features with the Z Modeler brush is to allow you to crease individual edges. So you can kind of pick and choose exactly where you want your creases, which is what I've done there. And I'll do them here as well. So there we go. We're starting to get there pretty quick. For the endpoints, the tips of the toes there, I think in general this needs to be a little wider. Another cool feature with the transpose line is that you can snap to vertices like what I just did there and create some really specific stretching with your transpose line there. So that is kind of poking out a little over here, which is kind of annoying. I'll just kind of cheat it a little bit with my move brush, and then we'll combine those into our foot shape. So just like that, we've very quickly kind of blocked out and modeled that very basic foot shape. And there are a couple extra things going on here. See how the color is kind of like splotchy here? So ZBrush reads pure black as transparent. So I can actually get that right there to not freak out. So because some of that is pure black right there, and that's just like the shading that the artist used, it kind of freaks out a little bit. And this tool is called Spotlight, by the way. You can import images into ZBrush and then add them to your Spotlight, which will throw them up on screen for you to either use as a reference, which is what I'm doing right now, or you could use them as like textures or stencils almost that you can project polypaint or even sculpt form through them to create all sorts of different effects. Holding the phone of your house with one hand and playing Mario Kart on my phone with the other hand was kind of challenging. Wow, the future is amazing, isn't it? All right, let's combine all of this stuff that I just made and Dynamesh it or Boolean it together. It doesn't really matter. For this, I think I'll just Dynamesh it by adding some subdivision levels so that the geometry is a little bit more smooth. And because I want to see what's going on here, I'll turn the polypaint back off. And I'll just, that Dynamesh is a little higher than what I wanted. Hopefully it doesn't freak out on us. It looks like it did okay. Dynamesh while streaming, depending on what settings I'm using, can kind of freak out a little bit, so gotta be careful. And then a remesh on this should put us in a pretty nice place. I would normally remesh with polygroups, but there's kind of a weird connection happening around this point. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing here. And if it looks awful, I'll clean it up a little bit first and then go back to remeshing it. I'd like to hurry up here on these feet because I know we don't have too much time left on this guy. But that is basically what I'm looking for. And honestly, I think I'm going to smooth out this this connective area up here. with a delete edge loops function. So something like that, and then honestly I could make that a nice little separation there. I think that looks pretty good. All right. Some wicked creasing. I really need to spend more time in ZModeler. Yes, so creasing, I use creasing very quickly down here on the foot, but I actually just did kind of like a pseudo crease with a bevel. So it's just a little bit softer than a crease. You can see that we get like a little bit of a transition between there. I most of the time prefer bevels, but they do increase your poly count. And you can get some kind of weird artifacts on more complex geometry. So sometimes I don't like to use that. Let's go ahead and do some extra shapes here on the jacket. So all this extra stuff, just so that we can, as well as the shoes and maybe the hands after that, just so we can kind of get everything up to a more polished level. So first up here, let me find a little bit of a better off-white for the gloves, because I want to use that same color in the vest or jacket. So I'll show you guys a cool little trick here to reuse geometry. I'm just duplicating this, and I like the strips of polys that I have happening here. So I'm going to use that to create the zipper that is running down the front there. We'll just kind of delete everything that we don't need. And let's see. Whoop, that is connected still. Let me delete that. All right, and then with my move brush, I'll just kind of make that a little bit more concentric. Another cool thing with the transpose line, with the clipping feature, you can just kind of clip that all so it's nice and straight very quickly. Very easy to do. And then, let's see. I think it's a little too thick. That looks a bit closer now, I think. Maybe a little more thin. I think it's probably close enough though. A lot of the time I say that close enough isn't, but when you're so short on time, sometimes it is. All right, so continuing on with creating our zipper. So this is kind of bubbling out a little bit there, and I don't like that. So I'm going to delete the edge loop and put it back in very quickly, but just to kind of make it more flat. I didn't really like how that's kind of rounding there. And the reason I don't like that is because when I go to extrude my geometry, I don't want that geometry to kind of push out to the edges. I want it to kind of stay more in line with that axis. So that works out a little bit better. All right. Very quick and simple zipper. Not too hard at all. Let's continue on here. Let autosave do its thing. It's taking a little bit longer than it should. I think probably because I have her loaded in on this project right now. Couple quick creases with crease edge loop. What's going on here? I do not have symmetry on. So the reason I turned symmetry off with the ZModeler brush, if you're ever working on an edge loop function It doesn't do this nearly as often as it used to, but it still kind of scares me from time to time. If you do an edge loop operation across the symmetrical axis, it will occasionally cause ZBrush to crash. It will pretty much always create a quick save when that happens, which you can find under your Lightbox quick save menu. You can see that I have a bunch of little quick save files in here. So if that does happen, that's where those are. But I just try to avoid that as much as I can, which is why I was turning off symmetry there temporarily. So we got our little basic shape for our zipper. We'll detail that a little bit more here in a moment. For the stripe running around the character, I think he actually has 2 stripes normally, but we'll stay true to our little cute little Eggman here. I think I can use the topology here yet again to our advantage. So I'll just use this like little strip of polys here with the, I think the Z modeler brush. And I'll just polygroup those very quickly. And there we go, we got a nice strip of polys. So with the Z modeler brush, if you hold the Alt key, you can polygroup different polygons pretty quickly. Loaded question. That doesn't sound loaded. Does learning anatomy coming from 3D, is it very different from the drawing approach? I suppose having models makes for some cognitive offload. I'm not sure what you mean by the second part, by having models makes for some cognitive offload. But I would say that learning anatomy in 3D is not very different from 2D at all. I would say that it's very similar. But you know, if you want to be a 3D artist, I recommend that that you do 3D as much as you can. There's all this like talk about, like, you know, if you want to be a 3D artist, you got to learn how to draw first. Well, guess what? I don't draw pretty much ever. And I can digitally sculpt all sorts of characters. I compare it kind of to being like a... imagine that you want to be a sprinter. Like, you want to be able to run really fast and like maybe compete in the Olympics or something. Would doing long distance training for, like, you know, 1 mile, you know, 5K, like a marathon, right? Would that help you become a better sprinter? Probably. Like, just getting exercise and working would probably make you a better athlete, right? But if you want to be a sprinter, you should sprint. So I don't think they're very different in terms of like learning anatomy in 3D versus 2D. I would say that the basic process is like very similar. Try to sculpt or try to draw something, and when you're struggling, grab some reference and try to study it as much as you can. I would say that those processes are very similar. But I often see people try to convince others that, you know, you need to start with one and not the other. Like one is a predecessor to the other, when in fact they're just very completely different mediums. So I don't really look at it that way at all. Let's say do what you want. So if you want to draw, get drawing. If you want a 3D, get 3D in. 3D in. TM. That's mine. All right, let's get the rest of these little parts. This little thing here we could poly paint on. I think it might be a button, though? I don't know. Dr. Eggman, you got so many weird things going on with your design. Dr. Eggman is like so weird. Look at this dude. This whole section kind of looks like a car. And like these are headlights or something. He is so weird. Like, he does not fit in the, I feel like he doesn't fit in the Sonic universe. I feel like nothing fits in the Sonic universe, but what do I know? Alright. No wonder they were so mean to him, calling him Fat Man and all that. Who designed Eggman? Does anybody know? Need to have a word with this person. So a very quick little cylinder for our button. And if you guys remember the creasing and stuff that I was doing before, we can use that here to our advantage as well. So if we want one side of the button to be a little bit more rounded, what I recommend doing is using some kind of bevel operation, kind of like that. And then when you smooth that out, it'll be a hard crease on the backside and a little bit more rounded on the front. So there's a lot more that we can do to that to make it more complex, of course, but in terms of like a very quick and basic shape, that's how I would do something like that. Let's see, this seems just a little bit too thick to me. I'm gonna make that stripe a little bit more thin. I'm not sure what these yellow things are. I guess they're just straps. I think I am going to give him a second stripe, even though we can't really see it. It's in the other design. And if I'm gonna put this second like little clip there, then we need to have the actual strap. Oh man, Eggman, why you so weird? All right. Very simple and boring poly modeling. Poly modeling is always so boring to watch, I think. So I try to avoid it on my streams. I like doing it because, whoa, that was weird. Because it is not very hard to do, and you can get some very clean and nice results very quickly. I don't really need to crease that, so let's do something like this. Try to do that real quick. So the reason, now I could have just inserted a cube there, right? But the reason I reused that geometry was so that it would be on top of the same place. So we can just have that right there and bada boom, got it. I am going to make that a little wider. I created a couple temporary edge loops there just so that I could snap to some vertices with my transpose line. Literally the only reason I did it. Let's come a little bit more forward on that side. A bit weird, actually. Not a big deal. Instead of recreating all of that again, what I'll do is just cheat and duplicate it through the magic of 3D, right? And I might be able to, this is not something that I've tried yet with something this low poly, but there's this new brush that you guys maybe have heard of called the History Recall brush that I might be able to use to project some of that form down. Now, like I said, I don't know how it's gonna work with something this low poly, so this is gonna be a little bit of an experiment. Let's try it out. You know what, I'm gonna shift this up here. If it doesn't work, we can eyeball it too. Like, it's not a big deal. I just want to see what this will do. Now the way I'm gonna have to do this, I think, because this is double-sided topology, the history recall, because it's projection, it's camera-based projection, it will just smush everything to a surface, so I think I'm going to have to delete some of the polygons on the one side, which isn't a huge deal, but it's a little bit of an inconvenience. But that is just how projection goes. Projection is very useful. We're going to try it out here right now. So, like I said, oh, you know what? Well, I accidentally removed some of that already. I don't know why that is separated. Whoops, no worries. So I want this yellow polygroup to go away. I'm just going to use this one-sided geometry. So we have to turn off symmetry. That is the first step because you cannot use history recall or projection with symmetry. The next step is to duplicate this and give it some subdivs so it's a smooth surface. I'm going to grab the history recall brush, control click up on my timeline, grab this low poly piece of geometry, oh, this one, and yeah, see what happens. Whoops, history recall. Oh, also, it will poly paint it, but it actually looks like it's working. I wasn't sure if that would snap super well there. Awesome. Well, that worked a little bit better than I thought it would. And then we can just mirror our operation or sculpting over to the other side. And some of that's a little bit warped, but that's a great way to snap geometry to a surface. You can do that with all sorts of clothing. I was curious if it would work with something so low poly. There wasn't a reason why it wouldn't work in my head, but it's not something that I'd ever done before, so while playing with the tool. But that's pretty cool. I will have to use that a lot more in the future. For those that do not know, let me show you really quick here with the history recall brush. So essentially I've stored this shape that I've just sculpted here, and if I were to sculpt, if I were to sculpt all over this, right, go crazy with it, and I don't know what's going on with my camera there. Sculpt all over it. If I grab the history recall brush, it is essentially recalling the history of that mesh. So I can sculpt all of that away. So like I said, this is projection based. This is based on your camera. So it is not something that you can do symmetrically, but you can do it on one side and then mirror it over to the other, of course, if it is something that you want symmetrical. But very, very cool for just projecting or, you know, storing information, cleaning it up. You can also, as I just showed off, use it from one subtool onto another, which is very cool. Greetings from India. Well, welcome. Glad to have you here. Engine X, welcome back, man. Hope you're doing well. Newbie to sculpting, tried a bit in Blender, but ZBrush is daunting. ZBrush is the industry standard for sculpting. If it is something that you want to get into, it can be a little, as you say, daunting in the beginning. But once you get over that little bit of a Dunning-Kruger curve and a little bit of a UI curve of difficulty, then you're good to go. It's not all downhill from there, because the harder part of learning ZBrush is not learning ZBrush, it's learning how to sculpt. I am still learning how to sculpt to this day. Something that I'm constantly trying to improve on, and not an easy thing, for sure. But I love sculpting. It's my job and it's my hobby, so that makes it a little bit easier. For some reason, I don't know why this split off this way. I did this on both of these. I can't imagine why those polygroups... That's happened to me before, where random different polygroups will be the same. I'm not sure exactly what causes it. It's very strange, though. It doesn't happen very often. Wow, look at our little egg boy. He's really turning out to be awesome. Let's see. I wish they would give us some CAD features. I came from CAD to ZBrush, so poly modeling gets to me. One software you can check out, which is a CAD sculpting program, and it's extremely expensive. It's like $20,000 at the cheapest. A lot of people don't know about it. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It is called Freeform, and it uses this haptic tool. So there's no way that you can really get the software and use it without having this physical tool to license the software to, and it's incredibly expensive. But it does have polygon modeling and sculpting in it with this haptic tool, and it also has CAD abilities, so translating polygonal information into like curves and stuff like that. Looking into courses on Udemy, unfortunately Gumroad doesn't accept my card. India cards need a password, and Gumroad's payment gateway doesn't understand that. Oh, that's very strange. I did not know that. Well, that's unfortunate to hear. I did not know that India cards or credit cards required a password. You can also use PayPal. I know that that is a payment option, but I don't know if you have one of those. I think they're pretty easy to set up though, but I don't know how that works like with the foreign transaction stuff. I know like a lot of foreign taxes on online transactions are like ridiculously high, like in the 50 percentile, like crazy stuff, which makes no sense to me. That just seems like really kind of strange. Let's do some more stuff with Egg Boy here. We can do some quick hands, I think, because he is oh so simple and boring in that area. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll check out some more stuff here in chat in a little bit. Because Egg Boy's looking a little undefined right now. He needs some extra love and care. By the way, if you guys have any questions while I'm going here, and if it's not like related specifically to what I'm doing, no worries. Feel free to throw it in chat. I'll do my best to answer what I can. But for now, we'll just do some quick hands. For this, let's see. I'm going to crease the ends here to make sure that that stays the same length of the arm. It is not a watertight piece of geometry. Most of the time I only work with watertight geometry, so no holes. I don't like to work with thin geometry like this because it can be difficult to sculpt on. But because this is such a simple shape, I decided to kind of keep that, and I'll mess with it more later. But for now, let's kind of define these a bit more real quick. You know what? I'll just make those like extra thick and give that a bit of a transition there. Honestly, that's not really going to be seen, I don't think, right? Yeah, that's not really going to be seen anyway. So, not a huge deal. So I actually have a hand base mesh that I typically use. I don't want to use it here because these are such a unique and simple shape. They're kind of like Mickey Mouse gloves. Probably not going to make them super fancy either. More so just do something quick and simple here. A bit more boxy than what I have. And mine's a bit high poly right now. Love watching your videos on YouTube. Didn't know you stream. Yes, I do. Every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Pacific time, or 6 o'clock my time on the East Coast. PayPal's a bummer, so yeah, I figured. A lot of people I know can't use that, which is unfortunate. I think I'm just going to use a tube of geometry. If you guys remember our good pal, the curved tube snap brush from earlier. Oh, you know what? Instead of doing that, there's this little pill shape in here somewhere. Capsule, that's what it's called. We can just use that for a finger, right? Such a simple shape. Whoops. Come back. There we go. Oh, so simple. Beautiful, right? Look at this beautiful hand. And it's just a simple three-fingered hand. I really don't like three-fingered hands because then you have to like make the fingers extremely fat to get them all to like fit in the palm shape. But for something that's super cartoony, it's not typically that hard. So I don't think we'll struggle here or anything. Cannot see what's going on because of symmetry. Whenever I'm working on legs or anything that I want to get on the inside edge, like this hand or this thumb specifically, I will delete the other side temporarily. I'll mirror it back across later, but during this part of the stage or this part of the process, it's just like really hard to rotate around your model when you have something over on the other side that's like right there, and you rotate this way and it's like, I can't see this angle to like sculpt in there properly. So it helps to just delete that temporarily. Let's see. Just got in. How would you block out a male chest? I'm doing an anatomy study. A male chest. So I have pretty much the way I block out everything is with primary forms. I think. Whoops! I didn't mean to type that up there. Up here. Let me find it for you. This video. Here you go. So this is my basic blockout process, not just for characters, but for everything. So I'll link that in chat for you if it'll send. There we go. Cool. And hopefully you find that helpful. Good luck, man. Blocking out is the most difficult part of the process, most important part of the process as well, because no amount of polish later on is going to save a bad sculpt, right? Gotta get it all in the beginning. No amount of special textures or anything like that is going to save you. His fingers don't really have too many like hits and breaks or anything. They're kind of just like tubes. So I think what we'll do here is just kind of scale those up like so. And I don't really want to merge these yet, but I will because we're kind of in a hurry here to get this done a little bit faster. I think I need to scale some of this down a little bit. Just work on the proportions there a little more. I want, I don't really want you to be able to see inside of this. How how should I do this? My basic idea here, I think, is to, I'll show you. Easier to show than say. I'm gonna scale in just the inner part of this. Like so. Something like that. That will work, I think. We'll make it work. Yeah. Because it's like, look how thin his little arms are and how big his hands are, right? Doesn't really make too much sense. I could probably do that a little bit up here too, just to kind of bring that in a little. Cool, cool, cool. Easy enough. Hope you don't mind me saying that. I'm not sure what you said. Check out Shane Olson. Yeah, of course. Love his blocking out a character method. So easy and simple for us to check out Shane Olson's work. He's an awesome, awesome guy. You two are my faves, as I said. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. Well, thank you guys. You're all very kind. All right. I think spending too long thinking of how I want to do things and not enough time doing. My contact lenses are incredibly dry right now. I'm having trouble seeing. This happens to me at night all the time. I wear contact lenses all day and then get blind by the time night rolls around. Alright, so that hand is nice and flat, just the way we like it, right? No, not at all. Let's shape this up some more. Now, normally when I would do something like this, where all the fingers are very similar pose, I will just do one finger and then duplicate the other and like merge them on. But because I merged these down first, I'm just gonna do each one individually very quickly. Normally when I spend a lot of time working on hands, like with this gal up here, I will think about the pose before I start combining stuff. I left this open down here just because I wanted it to give me a clean edge loop, which it did. So just so I could have a little bit more clean topology. It doesn't really matter that it's open. I can close that off very easily. Alright, so a little bit of volume here for the thumb pad, which the thumb is kind of going a pretty janky direction right now. Not at all what we want. Want that more so coming down here, right? A little bit more natural. Thankfully, when sculpting hands, you have the best reference in the world. You can just look right down at your own. For these, though, they're not quite similar to mine, but I've sculpted enough hands to where I know kind of what shapes that I'm looking for. Even in kind of like a Mickey Mouse style glove here. So just sculpt on some quick extra forms with our clay brush. And then just plane out some quick things ever so quickly. Just to make sure, make sure I got the right brush there. Just to make sure that this is reading properly. That's starting to read a lot better, all right? Some very quick strokes, quick fixes. Starting to feel more like an actual hand, right? And the gaps between the fingers are pretty wide, pretty awkward. So that's something we can fix real quick too, I think. Let's see. Whoa. Is this the default theme for ZBrush 2020? I believe that is what you're asking. I think that's translated, auto-translated. No, it is not. This is my custom ZBrush user interface. So there's a lot of extra stuff going on. The custom UI, or my custom UI, is available on my Gumroad, which is Gumroad/Follygon. But the default UI is very similar to this. It just doesn't have all the stuff down here at the bottom, and it doesn't have this pop-up menu and all my hotkeys that I'm using and all that stuff. But otherwise, it's it's very similar. It's not too far off. But I recommend customizing the UI as you get more familiar with certain tools. I find it very, very helpful. I actually, as I mentioned, I went to California State University Fullerton to speak with some of the students there about my work, and my custom UI was not loading on the computers there for some reason. So I was I very quickly set up a couple hotkeys for stuff that I use very often, but because of that, it was very hard for me to work and sculpt, just because I'm so used to my hotkeys that I don't even use the traditional hotkeys that are in here. I'm just so used to my stuff that it was very, very different and very hard for me to do a lot of stuff quickly. It's kind of a pain, but that's how it goes sometimes. Nothing ever goes according to plan when you are gonna do a talk or anything like that. It was fun. It was fun still. We made it work. But yes, without my custom UI, I am completely lost. not quite, but I'm just so much slower because I've really practiced with all my custom stuff. That dang local sim getting in the way. I think that's fine for a quick hand. If anything, I could add some rotation. We can add some more asim to the character, obviously. What else do we want to do here? Because we're kind of running out of time. Let's make sure that everything is looking smooth at least. That we have actual subdivs in here. I kind of don't like the, I guess it's fine. I was gonna say I don't really like the super dark black because it's so hard to see what's going on with the form, but I don't know. We'll make it work. I was gonna try very quickly. Yeah, we'll just stick with what we got. All right, let's go ahead and clean up some more stuff here. I want to do some more stuff on the face. We can do some posing as well. That was being weird. Wasn't sure what was going on there. There we go. Beautiful. Little extra form there. There's some other stuff going on here, but I say we play around with the face a bit more while we still got time. That was interesting. I'm using a very low RGB value here to poly paint the face. Just a little bit, add some color. And when you do this, it's like very easy to like overdo it very quickly. Oh, I know what's wrong. There we go. And just needed some subdivs. So it's very easy to overdo this stuff like pretty quick. Starting to look like a little pink cherry boy here. But we can kind of neutralize some of that color by just sampling the skin tone and setting our RGB to like 25 or something and fill that in a couple times. And that'll help to bring everything back to a little bit more of a neutral tone. He's a bit more pale in some areas. Kind of want to capture that. Like the chin looks very white. I was gonna cut this off. I don't think I will. I'll just mask this. I'm gonna cut off this backside because it's poking into the face. I'll try this way instead. Because I still want to keep the rounded shape there a little bit. I don't really like our nose color either. Like I said before, it kind of feels like a carrot. Whoa, what happened here? Why is our mustache like super far out? And our nose. When did that happen? Well, make that work. Make the nose a little more pointy. It's so like pixelated. This is not the stream. This image is like extremely low res, so it's very hard to tell exactly what is going on there. We'll try to play with that in a moment, just to make it a bit more visually appealing. Get rid of the carrot nose. I want you a custom theme. Yeah, you can grab it. Gumroad.com/Follygon. Follygon's custom UI and hotkeys, right there. I have not updated this for ZBrush 2020. Every time, so like my brushes, if you ever get anything on here, anytime I update it, it's a free upgrade, just like ZBrush, right? So once I update this, you'll all get, whoever has my UI will get the 2020 update as well. I need to upload that, and I'm going to make a quick reminder to do that so I don't forget. Because if I don't, I will forget. How did you get the classic transpose tool? There is a toggle. It's up here at the top of your UI where it says Gizmo 3D. You just click on that and it switches to the transpose line. Pretty easy. Sorry for my English. No worries, man. Totally understood you. Not a problem. Snake hook brush will work wonders for your beard. Yeah, snake hook is right down here in my custom UI. If I can select it. Boom, beautiful. RGB, turn off. Wow, so fancy. Yes, that is a great way we could start like pulling out some additional form there. But if I were like actually going to like get in and spend a lot of time on that, I would actually use my curved tube brush to make that a bit more clean. I can't see what's going on with my face because all this other crap is in the way, so I'm going to hide it all really quick. And because we've been working so quick here, we haven't had any time to like organize our subtools, so you'll have to excuse the mess over here. Still feels a bit carrot-like. All right. Let's see. I wanted to, I think, mainly tweak a couple things up here to make these more asymmetrical. Just something really quick to kind of offset that shape, make it a little bit more cartoony, like what we got going on over there. What I was talking about here with the curved brush, just to like show you, I don't think we'll have enough time really to do this. Turn on our size modifier here. And start breaking up the form. So this is how I sculpt hair. This is how I sculpted hair on this girl over here. And actually, was it 2 weeks ago that in my live stream I actually did a hair, or was it last week? I can't remember. It was, I think it was 2 weeks ago that I did a demo showing my hair sculpting process. This hair is not finished yet. You can see that there's like a bunch of extra chunks and stuff kind of poking out of it. But essentially starting with the most basic shape first, right? Which is kind of what we've done here. And then using tubes of geometry to kind of like split that up and refine it more and more. So we don't really have a lot of time here. So I think we will take, who was it that mentioned the snake hook brush? Sorry, I cannot see your message. It has gone away. But we will be taking their advice and going with the snake here, which is a great little brush, but it makes things get quite messy quite fast. Ahmed, sorry, there we go. Ahmed, thank you for the suggestion. Have you seen Klaus? No, but it's on my watch list on Netflix. Has anybody else seen Klaus yet? Let me know your thoughts. The animation looks beautiful. The characters look beautiful, which is hence why it's on my watch list. I'm very interested in checking it out. Just like a couple pull-outs here and there. Nothing too crazy. The curve method looks great. Yeah, if you're interested in learning how I normally work on hair, check out my stream from 2 weeks ago, I believe. last week or 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yes, because last week was the creature box sculpt, which was a fun little dude as well. But yes, 2 weeks ago was the hair. Oh. Whoops. First time you've ever heard of Klaus. Looks like something you need to check out. It looks like a pretty cool movie. And it's like probably a typical kind of feel-good Christmas movie. But I like those kinds of movies. I'm not going to do like a ton of these extra strands here. One, because they're not present in the concept over there, but also I don't want to spend a ton of time like pulling those out. So I'll just use move backface masking to thicken up and clean some of that jank up. And I'll use some carving in brushes to clean up a couple things here as well. I'll use my sharp soft brush. So I'm just going to do some very generic strokes ever so quickly. And then I'll refine those here in a moment. Klaus is a nice animated movie. Engine thinks so. So there's 1 point for Klaus. I'm glad I came across your stream. It is 3 a.m. in Egypt. What are you doing? Come on, man. Get some sleep. My stream is not worth staying up that late for. Just want to say thanks for posting the Sculptober prompts last month. I made it to day 20, but I had no clue Sculptober was a thing before you announced it. Well, I'm happy that you participated. That's the whole reason that I helped facilitate the challenge. It was a lot of fun to do, and I had a lot of fun participating in it myself. For those that don't know, Sculptober is another one of those fun and friendly sculpting challenges where you create something every single day for an entire month. This time in October, hence Sculptober. It is a very simple challenge, but it is definitely not easy. But it's over now. But really, it's just meant to facilitate encouraging like people to get sculpting and everything. So it definitely helped with that. I'm glad that you got to get some sculpting out of it. That's awesome to hear. For those interested, it'll probably be making a return next year. I don't see why not. I had a lot of fun doing it. I don't think, I'm trying to remember what day I made it to, because I got completely overloaded with work towards the end there. And I might have kind of tapered off around day 20 or so as well. I don't remember the exact day, though. Not off the top of my head. So again, just some quick, simple strokes here. Nothing too complicated. I'm keeping them all like the exact same size and everything. I would not recommend doing that. But I'm just kind of doing these really quick, and then I'm going to come back over them with my mech brush, my mech cut. It's a very nice brush. I like these brushes a lot. There's a lot of them, a lot of different types of mech cut brushes. But this one is my own. kind of like a if a damn standard brush and a pinch brush had a baby, this would be that brush. And I'm kind of keeping those pretty messy, so like everything's really tight right now. I haven't really done a great job of blending these because the geometry is so stretched, so it's really kind of tough to get in there. I'll probably Dynamesh that here in a moment though. Let me clean this up for like 2 more seconds, and then I'll check on chat. Try to do this quick. Sometimes I get really confused while looking at this material, while sculpting stuff like this. The ZBrush paint or Skin Shade 4 material both do this. Essentially, it like makes it hard to tell what is convex and concave surfaces here. So like my brain is like flip-flopping, and I have to like rotate around a lot so that I can make the light show me where the actual dip-ins are, and all that stuff. So figuring out what's concave and what's convex, what's pushing out, what's pushing in, essentially. It can be tough to see some of that stuff. Hence why I have my clay sculpting material, my Follygon clay, available now on gumroad.com/Follygon. It's my little infomercial for you. Spent so long on that material too. I think I spent like probably close to 2 years tweaking that material until I got it to something that I really liked. But like I used to use this one material that that was like colored. It's like colored similar to clay, and it just kind of got a little distracting to work with. So I ended up making lots of small tweaks to it, eventually getting rid of the color, etc., etc. And eventually, I got to this guy. This material here. But if you don't have a custom material, I think the standard material, or basic material I should say, in ZBrush is a pretty good sculpting material too. I just like mine a little bit more. Beautiful. All right. What did I miss? Where can we see the work from Sculptober? Well, if you go to sculptober.com, you can learn more about Sculptober for next year. But over on Instagram, there should be a link here. You can just search for the hashtag Sculptober. And you can see all of the awesome work that everybody who participated in Sculptober created. So there's all sorts of cool stuff, ranging from digital to traditional. So this looks like a wax sculpture here. Wax is a material that I've never worked with. I believe this is wax, right? I don't see like a wax hashtag in there. That was kind of hard to tell. But yes, all sorts of fun and nifty things. Hashtag Sculptober. That's where you can check out all the work. If you want to just check out all of the stuff that I did, I'm just Follygon on Instagram. I just want to see... Oh, I'm already on my... What day did I stop at? What day is this? I know what day is this. Jellyfish. Jelly. Was that flowing? So I think I stopped around like day 21. And I ended up doing a special for the Halloween episode where I did the video with Nadia Axel, which was a ton of fun. If you guys haven't checked it out. 2D to 3D. So I got to work with Nadia Axel. She created a really cool illustration. That witch character there that you can see, and I ended up sculpting that. And we did a little bit of a collab there. So she kind of showed off her process for how she painted the character, and then I showed off my process for how I sculpted the bust and talked about like all my steps and thought process throughout the entire thing, which is also what I plan to do for this character as well. I am working on a pretty lengthy video to kind of talk about all the different challenges and processes for sculpting her. So she's been a kind of a big project. I've been working on that for a while, but I hope to wrap that up here in the next couple weeks, I'm hoping. But we shall see. No, I do not teach 3D printing. I have a sculpting for 3D printing course, but just because there are so many different types of technologies for 3D printing, I keep it kind of a little bit more software and hardware agnostic, talking more about the principles behind some of the ways in which you want to sculpt for 3D printing. It's something that I would like to delve into, a bit more in the future with a new course, but just because, like I said, there's so many different types of, if I wanted to make it like just an FDM printing course, like just that would be a lot easier, but there's setting up stuff for FDM, SLA, etc., like even more for like DLP and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different technologies out there. I assume that most people that are like really new to 3D printing are probably getting in at the baseline with FDM stuff. So that would probably be like the route to go if you are looking for some more info, like how to get started and stuff with 3D printing. Check out some cheap FDM printers and go from there. That would be my recommendation. But yeah, it's definitely something I'd like to play with and explore a bit more in the future. But hey, there's a fun little Dr. Eggman. I know he's super symmetrical, like I said, but maybe we could break symmetry on him really quick here. Let's see, we should save out a quick little neutral egg boy, right, before we pose him. And we can reuse the Transpose Master plugin that we used before to do some quick little tweaks and changes there. Oh, I think I missed like a bunch of questions up here. Do you work from home full time? If so, how do you manage your sanity and schedule? Yeah, I do work full time from home as a freelancer, and most of my time is spent with my students for all my courses, mainly my Appeal Academy course, but which is at appeal.academy. That's this one here, which you guys should definitely check out if you're interested in making appealing characters. But if I am not working on that, I am doing some freelance work. So just kind of depends on the day. Sometimes it depends on the hour. But in terms of managing sanity, I don't know. You gotta be passionate, I guess, or something. That's what somebody inspirational would say, right? You gotta be passionate. I have no idea. I'm not probably the person to ask about sanity. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know how I do it. It definitely gets lonely, right? The life of a freelancer is a lonely job, but I enjoy it. I don't mind it too much. Made 28 models during Sculptober. Dang, that's quite a lot. Pulling them so it can look better, and I'm thinking about open an Instagram account to publish them, but not sure yet. Well, I don't see why not. Go ahead, dude. I don't think there's any reason not to share your work ever. I would say get it out there. Get it out to the world. Can you export an STL file with ZBrush? You absolutely can. It's very easy to. Right up here under Z plugin, under 3D Print Hub. Import STL and export STL right there. Z plugin, 3D Print Hub. And you might be able to Yes. You can straight up export your individual subtools as STL files as well. I would not recommend doing it that way though, because you want to export like the entire tool. So that's probably not the best way to go about it. I would use the one that I showed you there, Z Plugin 3D Print Hub. Just giving him like a little bit of some asim down here. And I'm using like a little bit of a kind of a trick here with the transpose line to make it look like there's some offset with the legs. I'm skewing them would be the like technical term, sliding them a little bit. A little bit of rotation offset. And you know what? I'll do that outside of Transpose Master. I mainly wanted to do the big changes there in Transpose Master. Whoops, had solo mode on. I do that a lot. Not that it matters, but I like to watch the process of things changing. The shoe buckles, yeah, I was just noticing that as I was transposing that back. What about those shoe buckles? I might be able to cheat it really quick. What if we did something like this, where we took this geometry and extruded some poly loops? Like every third or so. And then we cut away what we didn't want. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since we already broke symmetry, we can do it that way, right? And then essentially we just take or get rid of what we don't want. And we'll do this. Let's see. Something like that. That'll work, I think. Yeah. Let me make sure that I got all the correct polys over here. And those are 5 wide, it looks like. Cool, cool, cool. Easy enough to replicate. Maybe not. There we go. Can't forget them dang buckles, right? A cool little trick, instead of using the Z modeler for creasing, instead you can come down under your tool menu and click on crease here, tool geometry crease, and just click on crease with the default tolerance of 45. And oh, we got some open faces there. I lied here. Let me get rid of those. Give it a thickness again. And because I already creased that, it did remember the crease settings. So essentially the crease tolerance is anything, what would it be, at a sharper degree than this angle. So if you have 2 polygons that create more than a 45-degree angle, it will crease that geometry. So if I click this again, it'll crease those endpoints as well. So I want it to crease the endpoints, but not any of this, so that we have a nice smooth curve. So that's how we crease stuff back in the day, before we got the Z modeler brush. Now we have some cooler tools to work with, but that is the basic process there. Was the silhouette feature my contribution? Whoa, I didn't know that the silhouette feature worked with stuff stuck to your canvas as well. That's interesting. I did not know that was the case. No, the silhouette feature was not my contribution, although I did use it a lot while I was working on this guy here, because I wanted to create a really interesting silhouette. So for those that are new or don't know, this is the creature, colorful creature that I made during the ZBrush beta, and I wanted to create a really cool, striking silhouette. So I definitely used that feature a lot while I was working on this guy, but no, it was not my suggestion to add that feature. That's not necessarily how it works a lot of the time. But I did contribute a lot of suggestions for things. But I don't know if I can talk about specifically what. A little bit of cleanup here and there, because these gloves got all these nasty brush strokes on them. Kind of do a quick smooth pass here and there. Wow, isn't he so fun? I wonder if I could like just poly paint these highlights on here. I think that would probably be a very cool cartoony look. Let's try it out. I can make that a bit more graphic. Do something like this. It's got like these very hard lines here. We don't have to make them perfect. I just want to get them on there real quick. Give a little bit more depth, and maybe like a quick highlight. I don't think I really like it, but we could, instead of doing that, always try out a different material, like the toy plastic, which is a great specular material here. Like I said, I don't really like the kind of graphic look there. Maybe just something like that. Make it a little bit more subtle. I don't know. I think we'll just leave it. Let's see. I wanted to do some more stuff here with the face, but I'm already a bit over time here with this stream. And nobody's after me, so I don't think they mind too much, but I don't like to go too far over. So, I think then that is where we will hit stop on our stream, unless anybody has any last-second questions. If so, throw them in chat real quick for me, and I'll do my best to answer what I can. If you guys are interested in checking out more of my stuff, you can check out gumroad.com/Follygon. That's where all my courses, brushes, materials, base meshes, and I got another finger, so low poly foliage package, all sorts of stuff. Gumroad.com/Follygon. Check it out. Or check out appeal.academy for my course that you can sign up for to learn how to create some awesome stylized and appealing characters, much like Doctor Eggman or Zelda here, who I've been working on for a little while. She's turning out pretty cute. So if you guys are interested, check it out, appeal.academy. And if you guys want to find any of my stuff, or if you're joining the stream a little bit late, Follygon is my YouTube channel, and my Instagram, ArtStation, Twitter, etc., etc., etc. Just Google Follygon and you'll find all my stuff, essentially. Awesome. Well, let me make sure. Last minute questions here. What advice can you give for new artists who are looking to make it in the industry? I think the biggest advice that I could give is essentially mileage. Essentially get your hours up as quick as you possibly can. There's all these different things that you could be doing or studying. I think being intentional is important. So like find that thing that you want to do, find that goal, and then just put in as many hours as you can into that as quick as possible. Essentially, you want to get past the Dunning-Kruger curve as quick as possible, which is something I mentioned earlier, which maybe you can Google. But other than that, how long did the colorful dragon take to make? The this guy here. Wow, look at that. That's those are some of my work in progress images on him. I wasn't recording or keeping track of hours. If I had to guess, under 20. Maybe around 20, I would say. It's not like I was working on it very fast or anything. I was testing out a lot of new features and stuff while I was working. So I would say like 20, 25 hours maybe for him. But yeah, cool. Anything else here real quick? Yes, it is supposed to be Zelda from Breath of the Wild. She's going to be a basketball star, hence why it says Zelda back here. And she, as some have said, she is a wise ass, which I thought was pretty funny, which I wasn't originally intending, and that might or probably will go away, as I don't like having a ton of text there. I essentially want the attention brought up to the face, and text lower on the body tends to text and like little features like this Triforce on the shoe, which I'll probably remove. Those things tend to draw attention away from the face, which oftentimes is not good. But yes, beautiful. We'll give her. Oh, he's coming for her. He's gonna get her, or maybe he's like her familiar or something. Here, if I can't do this with a mouse. I can't ZBrush with a mouse. Wow, there you go. It's like hanging out on her shoulder. Cool. Awesome. Well, you guys have a great rest of your night. I hope to see you next time I'm streaming. If you guys are interested in learning when I'm going to stream or when other people are going to be streaming, check out the schedule over on pixelogic.com/ZBrushLive. The schedule for who is streaming next, if it loads here, I don't know why it's taking so long. Ashley Adams is going to be streaming tomorrow at the same time as my stream today, so 3 o'clock Pacific time. Definitely check her out. She's really cool, does some really cool sculpting for some concept work and stuff like that. Awesome. Well, like I said, you guys have a great night. Hope to see you around. And yeah, until next time. Bye, guys.